2022 was a fantastic year for movies, and Bullet Train was no different. And there are still tiny details you might have missed even on repeat viewings. Let's take a look at them, my action movie lovers. I'm Joey C. Let's go! Bullet Train is set in Japan, so it's understandable to think, boy, there's gonna be a lot of martial arts in this movie, considering some forms of martial arts originated there. Viewing the movie back, we noticed most of the assassins who square up, if you will, don't use any martial arts or have any martial arts skill. They just seem to fight real dirty, kicking, punching, scratching, or using anything they could grab to hit them with. Hide your kids, hide your wife, am I right? Speaking of wives, stick around and we'll tell you why that's relevant. Wolf uses knives, which is rather impressive, but LadyBug uses a metal briefcase as a shield against the attacks. Meanwhile, Lemon, another assassin, uses a seemingly harmless laptop to hit LadyBug in the throat. Ow. And the only time martial arts is even used in the film is when the Elder takes on the White Death. I know, I'm shocked too. You know what's a near impossible task besides writing a compelling story? Writing a compelling story that happens in real time, dude! I know you're shocked to find out that Bullet Train does just that. We'll explore more details on this fact later on, but it's important to note that a real bullet train ride from Tokyo to Kyoto takes about 140 minutes, and the runtime of Bullet Train is 126 minutes. Damn near real time. It's not exactly real time, but it's close enough. I'm writing the script here, man. Of course, it's important to note that there are scenes before the train takes off, and the third act barely starts when we reach our destination. But hey, what can you do? Speaking of the movie happening in real time, we have another example of that just tickles me wonderfully. LadyBug tells Maria on the phone that he will be off the train in exactly 7 minutes. And what do you know? Exactly 7 minutes later, him and the incredibly handsome Tangerine get off the train during their very wild cinematic fight. No, seriously, get your stopwatches out. It's exactly 7 minutes. I mean, talk about small details that aren't important at all, but pretty awesome nonetheless. You can't get any better than that. You know, David Leitch has now joined the elite group of directors who have cameoed in their own movies, like Alfred Hitchcock, Francis Ford Coppola, and Edgar Wright, just to name a few. I'll give you $5 if you could guess where David Leitch appears in this movie. Boy, I'm actually impressed with you. That's pretty impressive. Yes, that's right. David Leitch actually gets blown up in a car near the end of the movie, and he is referred to as innocent victim number 17. Nice job, dude. Well, not nice job getting blown up. Nice job getting... You get the point. Let's move on. Brad Pitt, man. He's good. But you know what he's not good at? Recognizing faces. Let me explain. His character, LadyBug, said he never forgets a face, but ultimately struggles to remember who the wolf is. In real life, Brad Pitt has, get ready for this word, prosopagnosia. Yeah, I've never heard of it either. It's a condition that prevents people from recognizing familiar faces. Wow, that's wild. I didn't even know that existed. It also includes the person's own face. Can you imagine looking in the mirror and thinking, wait a second, who the hell is that guy? He has said in interviews that just like his character, he needs to remember the context and the situation in which he has met someone in order to remember who that person is. Wow, I can't believe this isn't more widely known. That's wacky. That Channing Tatum cameo is just wonderful and chef's kiss, and hilarious too. One of the times we see him when the characters race by on the train, he is reading a book. Did you ever look at what that book was? Neither did I. Let's take a look. So let's turn to Reddit. According to the legendary investigator, Reaper01807, they pointed out that the book he's reading comes directly from The Lost City 2022, another movie that he is in with co-stars Brad Pitt and Sandy B. The more you know. Speaking of books that characters are reading, let's move on to The Prince. The Prince was a character that I had completely different expectations for. I'm sure you'll agree. When we first come across her, she is reading silently. Of course, we find out soon enough, she is not an ordinary passenger. Good Iggy Pop song, by the way. Boy, she's kind of a psychopath, but with a plan that will take care of every assassin on board the train. Moving on to the book she's reading, it's Shibumi by Trevanian. Anyone familiar with the novel will recognize this tells a lot about her. The book, which was published in 1979, centers around a legendary assassin who is a Westerner with a Russian parent and was raised in Japan. His main goal is to attain the state of greatness. It makes a lot of sense that Prince relates to this character. While she's not in the state of greatness yet, she's well on her way to making a name for herself. Nice little detail, man. You wanna get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Or picky, let's get picky instead. So the movie takes place in Japan, on a bullet train. And I don't know, I just thought there would be more Japanese people in this movie. I don't know, man. Even the White Death, the leader of the biggest criminal empire in Japan, is, you guessed it, not Japanese. We'll get to him, don't you worry about that. You stick around for him. He was born in Russia and eventually moved to Japan. The White Death also had a beloved wife, where he had 2 children. A deadbeat son, played by Logan German, known simply as The Son, and the daughter called The Prince, played by Joey King. Both children were raised in Japan, but neither one of them have accents that line up with this background. However, the son does speak with a Russian accent, but the prince speaks with a posh English dialect. You know, it just really doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's not dig too deep into it. LadyBug, a well thought out character, a Zen master, a real dude if you will, says the line,
"When we are so quick to anger, we are slow to understand."
Wow, those are words to live by. This is not only a way of life, but also a paraphrase of lyrics from the song Witch Hunt by Canadian rock band and Bubbles' favorite, Rush. The lyrics are, quick to judge, quick to anger, slow to understand. Another detail that always tickles me are cheeky one-liners that foreshadow future events. Early on in the film, our hilarious duo, Tangerine and Lemon, the best characters in the movie, are debating the topic of wearing a bulletproof vest, which is funny because in their line of work, they probably should. Anyways, Lemon says they give you a false sense of security because you might get shot in the neck. To which Tangerine replies, yeah, it also stops you from getting shot in the chest. Of course, we see Lemon foreshadow Tangerine's death via gunshot wound to the neck. And Tangerine foreshadowed Lemon surviving 2 shots to the chest due to said vest. Good God, man, you see what happened there? Like I said before, a wonderful part of the movie are the interactions between the wonderful Tangerine and Lemon. During one of their very developed, intellectual conversations about Thomas the Tank Engine, it's a long story, we don't have time, Tangerine briefly switches his accent to one similar to that of Beatles member Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr narrated the British television series Thomas and Friends from 1984 to 1986, and also appeared as the first version of Mr. Conductor in the American spin-off series Shining Time Station from 1989. If this was intentional, I'll be shocked because this one runs deep. You know, there are actually a few details about the briefcase that are worth noting, or saying in a YouTube video. The combination of the briefcase is 807, like the production company 87 North, right? That's not too far out of a concept, right? The father, who is told to crack the case, impossible task if you ask me, tries 805, and that is shown as not working, and the father needs 2 more tries afterwards. Of course he is increasing the numbers one by one. Do you know how long that would take and what the chances are? Wow, you know what, never mind. I actually just researched it and it would only take about 10 minutes to go through all the possible combinations of a 3-digit code. Who would have thought? I thought that would have taken years. If you have a 3-digit code briefcase, give it a try and let me know in the comments below. Mistakes are always fun to point out in movies, and not because we want to rip them apart or tear apart the hard work of all the cast, but mostly because it keeps us involved in the creative process. Hollywood is real people, man, not perfect filmmaking machines. Let's discuss a few mistakes we found in Bullet Train, shall we? The first one would be at the 1 hour, 48 minute, and 45 second mark in the movie. As the train is crashing into another train, Lemon can be heard saying, "We're on the wrong track," but his lips don't move. Take that how you will. Maybe you like pointing out mistakes, maybe you don't. And if you don't, I'm sorry, my friend. So Maria, Sandy B if you will, is a wonderful addition to the film. She gives our LadyBug some very helpful guidance. Mostly accurate, you know. She did slip up, however. Or maybe it was just a mistake. I don't know. You be the judge. Maria tells LadyBug there are 10 economy cabins when he gets on the train. When he is talking to her and looking for the case, he is doing the math to figure out how much luggage to look through. He says there are 6 economy cabins. Was this a continuity issue? Is this a joke that I'm missing? What is the meaning of this? Let us know what you think. You know what really grinds my gears? Unrealistic turn radiuses and cars and other vehicles in entertainment. It's a field I'm very passionate about. Bullet Train has a massive turn radius sin in the form of a $100 million bullet train traveling at insane speeds. On a few occasions, the train is shown taking massively tight turns at very high rates of speed. Boy, you are probably thinking, can that train make that turn and stay stable? Absolutely not, dude! The N700 bullet train, traveling at cruising speeds, about 250 kilometers per hour, needs a radius of 2,500 meters to remain safe and stable. Unbelievable! I can't believe the dishonesty in this movie. Good lord, fix your turn radiuses, and if you're making a movie, you better pay attention to that. I've had enough coffee. Let's move on. Another mistake that I almost cannot forgive this film for is the fact that the train journey begins from Tokyo at night and arrives in Kyoto in the morning. A simple situation that seems accurate, right? Wrong. All bullet trains that are on the Tokyo line only run from 6 a.m. to midnight, dude. There are no overnight trips on that bullet train. Bullet train, you're on thin ice, pal. You failed. So sticking to the comparison between the movie train and the real life train, stops are longer than 60 seconds. For this particular train, this is to allow a wonderful group of people to clean up the dust, spot mop, sweep, and change any pillows or headrest covers. Wow, they really do it all. It also allows the passengers to get some food, like a bento box, hit the bathroom, hit a cancer stick. You know how it goes. 60-second stops my ass, man. Good lord. Movie heads will recognize that Bullet Train wears its influences right on its sleeves. We see influences like Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs. Quentin Tarantino classics, dude. We think the most obvious influence would be with the White Death. Badass name, by the way. Who seems to take many traits from Bill of Kill Bill. See, Bill, the leader of a legendary group of assassins, and though he's rarely seen until the end of Kill Bill Volume 2, his presence is felt hard throughout the story. The White Death is not much different. He is a killer and a criminal leader like Bill. He doesn't show up until the last third of the film. You see the pattern. The White Death's name is brought up constantly, so his presence is felt throughout the movie. He even kind of looks a little bit like Bill with his long hair and snazzy suit. Also, they are both Westerners who carry katanas. Not sure if that's intentional, but boy do the similarities line up. It's hard to ignore considering all the other Tarantino nods throughout the film. Tarantino isn't the only influence in the film, but it sure is a major one. A wild little detail that we see in the movie is at the 27th minute mark, we see a bust of Jesus Campos, just off to the left of the screen. Now you're probably wondering, boy, Joey C, who the heck is Jesus Campos? Well, he was a Mexican bandit and criminal. And you're also probably thinking, why is there a bust of him in the movie? Boy, I gotta tell you, he is revered and known as the patron saint of drug dealers. I am not kidding, look it up. There is a large cast of interesting characters in this movie, but we don't learn a lot about them. Bullet Train really only goes into details about the Wolf and the Elder and the White Death. Viewers might not realize that unlike other assassins on the train, they're each motivated by the same thing. They share a motivation, man. They want to take revenge on the people who killed their wives. How did I not make that connection before? White Death has gathered all the assassins he believes played a role in his wife's death. The Elder boards the train in order to kill the White Death, who murdered his wife years before. The Wolf has been systematically taking out everyone and anyone who has anything to do with his wife's death, which has led him here to the train. If you're married to anyone in the Bullet Train universe, I gotta tell you, you better watch out because it's a dangerous job. We rode the train. We gained some friends, we lost some friends. But more importantly, we learned about the tiny details we might have missed in Bullet Train. I'm glad we could share this time together. Well, kids, on to the next train. I'm Joey C. I'll see you later.